Hey guys, what's going on? This is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com. And today's video's topic is perfect posture and some exercises that you need to be doing to make sure that your posture is 100%. Some of these you may not have seen before, or the way that we're doing is different. But before we get into those, please like, subscribe, and then add in some exercises that you think are really good for posture as well. For most of us going into the gym, posture is kind of a second, third, or even fourth thought. A lot of times we're thinking about muscle. We're thinking about which machines we want to do, which body segments we're going to train. All the while, posture can be, and usually oftentimes is, the limiting factor to your ability to lift heavier weights and also do all weightlifting safer. What we have to keep in mind is that proper posture keeps weights at a minimum on damaging forces on all kinds of areas, but most importantly, including the back. It's been shown that 50 kilograms of load, as we're seeing in this picture, equates to around 200 plus kg of pressure. With improper technique, it almost doubles or triples. This is a huge problem, and why we talk about spinal flexion not being necessarily safe, even with light loads. Again, why I'm a huge advocate of not doing things like Jefferson curls and not letting your back round when you deadlift. There's a big difference between doing things for performance and maximal straining for world records, for instance, and doing things to just be generally healthy. We have to try to decide which one's for us. Now, just because you might be a performance athlete doesn't necessarily mean that it's okay for your back to be in spinal flexion. Probably means you're avoiding some muscles that we need to get to now with these exercises. The first exercise that I want to talk about is pretty basic, but there's some special ways that we want to do it. This exercise is called the band, or you could use a cable face pull. Now, this exercise is really good for developing upper back posture, especially in the rear delt, rhomboid, and lower trap area. These muscles are often neglected. Traps not so much, if you're a gym rat, but rear delts are usually play fifth fiddle to the anterior delts because it's not what we see in the mirror. And rhomboids, you don't hardly hear anybody talk about, but they're insanely important for scapular health, which can decide and help with spinal posture. So doing face pulls is a great exercise in order for you to make sure that your upper back is being able to withstand the pressures applied to it, either in static or dynamic loads. Some special way we do this face pull is a couple different ways. One, we can retract our shoulder blades completely before we pull with the arm. That's a massive coaching tip in order for you to make sure you're doing it correctly. The other thing we can do is slow down. So a lot of times, and it wasn't shown in this video, but a lot of times I'll have people do face pulls with a 2-second back and a 2-second forward tempo, sometimes even with a 2-second pause at the eyebrow. Now, the point of that is to take away stretch reflex and not utilize so much tendon stored energy and use muscle tissue. The next one we call on our apps is the reverse incline bend over dumbbell row. This exercise is an amazing exercise to turn on a lot of the upper back muscles, but it also gives us support to focus on the area in which we're trying to attack, which is going to be the lats, the rhomboids, the rear delts, and some of the other upper back muscles that are primarily responsible for thoracic posture. So when doing these, I'm a huge fan of doing them chest supported. Now, there's other ways we can do this. We could do it with a T-bar row. We could do it with kettlebells. We could do it with band tension. But in my idea is the position in which is done is optimal for making sure that you're focusing on the muscles in which you want to work. Now, the big trick is you could do these without a reverse incline, but a lot of times what you'll find is intermediate beginners and sometimes even advanced people will tend to cheat doing the exercise. This kind of forces the body to not really be able to cheat and therefore really isolates the area in which we want to train. The next exercise, which is a piece of machinery that's not as common as you see in normal gyms, is the reverse hyper. Now, for a lot of lower back issues and posture issues, some of that arises due to glute inactivation or the body's ability to use your butt muscles. So if your butt muscles are not activated, they're not turning on and they're not doing what they're supposed to, this means that your lumbar spine is going to work even harder. A lot of people like Stu McGill, which is one of the top back researchers in the country or the world, talks about glute amnesia. And this means when you sit on a muscle or put pressure on it, like me sitting down right now doing this video for you, It's telling my body to shut that muscle down, and therefore it's making my lower back have to work harder. We see this problem a lot in the fire departments with guys who are sitting around watching TV or eating, and then they have to hop up and go do a run with somebody that might be an overweight patient, or they're in an awkward position where they got to use a lot of different muscles, especially the back muscles, in order to do the job and get the person on the cot and get the person to the hospital. But the point is that you need to keep your glutes activated. So for most of my clients that we use just for health parameters, I try to have to do something like a reverse hyper machine at least twice a week, separated with 72 hours. So I hope this video has helped you guys a little bit, and these exercises aren't crazy, but a lot of times you need to make sure that posture is deciding a lot of your exercise protocols and what you're doing in the day, the week, and the month. Now, for a lot of us, this takes a lot of time, effort, energy, which is why we've created online coaching and why I write workouts on Patreon and TrainHeroic for you guys to follow at different amounts and tiers to where you guys are doing things safer, it's economical, and it's also custom built for you, especially on online coaching. Talk to you guys soon, and visit winningstrength.com.